Hey everyone, I'm going to crack on with the Death Corps now, and I'm going to build the carriage for the artillery piece. I've still not 100% decided yet if I want to do it so that I can magnetise it and use any weapon. So I'm a bit up in the air about whether or not I'll do that at the moment. But the good thing is I can build the carriage without making that decision. So I plotted out to make things a bit easier. Some of these in red, some of them in yellow, and some of them in orange and purple, because different parts are easier if I'm following a particular pattern. So I'm going to actually start off with following the red to begin with. After I've done a bit of it, I'll come back to my reds. So that's just partly because of the way that the instructions are. But for now, I'm going to follow through and I'm going to get out number 1, number 2, and number 3. So basically, they're these sides of the carriage. I always say to myself, I'm gonna magnetize things in a video, and then something happens and I forget, and then I end up not doing it. So if I'm gonna magnetize this, I'm going to make sure I damn well do it. Now, straight away, some interesting features that I noticed about this, including like this woodwork on the actual carriage. It's kind of an intriguing little touch. You don't normally see woodwork on Imperial Guards, so it kind of suits. Honestly, you would think, well, why would they not just do everything out of stamping it out with pure metal? But it's just a nice little thing having that wooden carriage. And to be quite honest, I mean, you don't always know, like, you know, I'm wondering, for example, like, we're on the home world of the Death Corps of Krieg. I'm not sure if you pronounce it Krieg or Krieg. Where you would actually find trees. But then what you've got to remember is I think a lot of these weaponry, like ordnance, they're not all just made locally, they'll have been made on different planets. And if it's an industrial world, it probably imports things like wood. It's like if you read upon the Tanith Thurston only, their lasgun stocks are wooden rather than stamped metal, like a lot of guards are described as having. And it's like those nice little touches that, you know, helps define an actual regiment. And I think it's important to do things like that sometimes. I think if I would say what's after the Death Corps, what Imperial Guard regiment I would like to see in plastic, I think the Desert Raiders. I think they are amazing as an appearance, and the lore behind the world as well. How it used to be like an abundant agri world, and then it just got trashed during the Horus Heresy. Right, let's make sure I'm putting this on the right way around. Right, so steps are going up that way, and then we are having the carriage popping in 3 points like so. Interesting actually that kind of does actually work as a push fit. Now, I think that's a positive thing, because aside from the fact that it might make it easier to pop these off for painting, I think it's going to make it easier if I do choose to magnetize. So I'm going to actually leave it as just kind of pushed in for now and see what happens as we go. Let's get number 5 out here. And number 4 next to it. Just having a look actually at the quite a noticeable mold line on this. I can see it as I go. Now this part is going to pop into there. It's so weird that this actually can be almost completely dry fit together on this first few steps. I am of course going to glue it. There's no way I can leave it unglued, but look, you know, it's like it's almost dry fitting. Yeah. Okay, when I get up to this point, it's quite clear now that whether I like it or not, to glue that part on is going to require those parts to be glued on. Well, don't have to actually glue them. I mean, it'll hold on its own either way. But you might just want to actually just leave that unglued if you are a sub-assembly painter but still want to see how it all looks when it's put together. Okay, now I need to go grab hold of number 9. That is going to into there again. Look, it's so interesting that some of these parts feel like you can just push fit them. I wonder if part of the reason behind that might be because I can't imagine they chose to make this a push fit model. I just think it's just the way that it's built. It just happens to have things push, like you can push them in to hold them. Right, 7 here, but it's good in a sense that you can actually kind of not glue it and then make decisions about if you want to put it together later, for want of a better word, you know, like take it apart and have it apart for painting. Like this wheel, I am not going to glue this wheel on because I hate painting wheels when they're glued on. I would want to be able to do that separate. So let me just prop it up like that, but I'm probably not going to glue that yet unless it starts to really drive me crazy while I'm building. Right, number 8. And then the other wheel, number 6. Looking at the wheel tread as well, so the tread on the outside of the wheel. Now, interestingly, I'm trying to work out what that texture could be called. Like, if you have a quick look at it, I mean, it could be potentially a thin strip of rubber. It could be like metal, which is quite common if you have a look at old horse and cart setups. Then they tended to have a metal trim around the wheel to strengthen them. Right. Okay, what I'm going to kind of do next then is I'm going to actually jump numbers and get 10, 11 and 12 out. That's because we've got the rear supports to build on these. Right, make sure I'm putting these in the right place as well, because this is kind of essential. So 12 goes on that side, 11 goes in the middle. Yeah, basically there's some supports that need being built, and I'm going to do them kind of following a different colour pattern. I've already looked this up and I'm reasonably confident that I can do it in this way and it's perfectly fine. It's quite a cool thing. It's kind of like got a, how do I put this? It almost kind of has a, I'm trying to describe this in the right way. Like, some of the features on it are just very old styling. Like the trim on the bottom of this. Like, I'm not joking. You could imagine it being on the bottom of a traditional catapult or something, you know. You know, I'm not a, you know, like by any means a study of military history. I know what I know about the First World War from school. Second World War from media, no doubt about that. But I actually loved reading about the Napoleonic Wars, both from a fantasy point of view, from a fictitious point of view, from a actual historical point of view, because I genuinely loved it. I got into it because, well, of Sharp, but it led me to really want to learn about the era. Anyway, so this kind of World War, it comes under an interesting, this kind of trench warfare stuff didn't just pop out of nowhere during the First World War. Sorry, I'm waffling. Get out number 20 and get out number 21. Yeah, basically trench warfare just didn't pop out of nowhere. It had been building up for a very long time, from long, you know, siege warfare. You know, any military worth its salt would understand the benefit of a trench system. Even in the ancient world, I'm sure a historian of that, an ancient historian, might tell me better, but, you know, I'm reasonably confident that if you've got fixed artillery positions like, say, the Romans had, you would need to understand some of the basic logic of trench style warfare, of digging in. And, you know, the Napoleonic era kind of is an interesting one, and they, you know, obviously they would have used trench warfare for their cannons, learn how to build different types of forts. World War One, though, it's like the first time you've got like what you might call truly industrial warfare. So, you know, like huge amounts of mass production, huge amounts of like mobile, you know, like technology being used as a I'll take those wheels away for a second, to kind of mass, basically to create machine, proper machine guns, to have fully, automated rifles, things like that. I'm sure it wasn't the first war where it went on, but everything just got cranked up beyond all sanity. Sure that's gone on all right. Sure that it's not interfering with the wheels. Yeah, that's fine. Anyway, so this kind of artillery looks really cool, and of course, the Death Corps take their, let's take 22 out. They take their aesthetic from World War One, with of course a futuristic twist. But you can just imagine that actually holding the line during the First World War, right? So we got 22, 23 and 24. 24. It was 23. Come on, let me find it. There it is. It's in a weird angle. I think I've lost the thread of what I was actually trying to say now, but yeah, I do love Matt. I just think there's how do I put this? There's a sort of a weird beauty to a lot of the Warhammer 40k stuff. It's like you can create whatever crazy story you want, and in a futuristic world where you can literally bomb everything from orbit, still stuck in trenches on the ground. Right then. Alright, let's work out how this one goes together. So you got this part kind of slotting in like so. Sure I've got that the right way around. I'm sure that's how it goes. Oh, hang on, maybe it is upside down. Like that. And then the 24. Now, this seems to go here based upon the diagram, which is just like weirdly, it feels like, why does this randomly just go on there? It feels like I'm putting it in the wrong place, but that does appear to be what we're doing. We're just kind of placing that in here. Just want to make sure that I've definitely got that right. It's just like some random block. Very odd. I'm going to have a quick see if I can look at any other pictures, because it just isn't clear how high up you put it, how low down you put it. I'm sure it has some purpose. It's like some weird random metal plate. Like so. Okay, now we've kind of got that main body, I think, all nicely built now. What we need to do next is think about things like this. So this is a kind of a wheel support, number 25. It's not something that you kind of glue onto the model. It's part of the scenery for the base that goes with it later. Now, I'm not going to glue this to anything at this point, because I've got plans for my basing of this, which I'm going to do an entire video on. I don't know why I give myself work to do when I don't have time, but I absolutely want to do a video on it. And I'll show you in a second what that video is going to be, just not now. Okay. Right. So what's going to happen is this can now be basically secured straight onto the base, which is this thing. I'm not going to do that. But if you choose to, you can basically glue it down at this point like so. And then these kind of act as kind of brace, you know, so that it doesn't roll forward or backwards. Basically, it's brakes. There's no other way to put it. It's a set of brakes. Right. Oh gosh. Now, I'm going to move on now to the back part of this and show you why I've done these bits in different colours. So I've set up in yellow and in purple the kind of two supports that go at the back of it. I'm going to start off by following the yellow one. So I'm going to get out number 13 here. And then 15 over here. Number 14. And then number 16. Okay. And this is basically going to form the supports, the rear supports for the artillery piece. Yeah, I just decided to set these up as a different sub-assembly because there's lots of like the left and the right one, the parts look similar and I didn't want to be kind of getting confused about which one was which as I was doing this part and taking them off the sprue. Right. Okay, so it started off in kind of this position. Make sure with the handle pointing up towards the top. Then what we've got is we've got this little bit here. This kind of goes on there. You can see kind of like that, yeah. Again, it can be actually left quite loose, that if you choose to. You could probably get away with not even actually gluing it to begin with. But I've obviously glued it for simplicity, really. Right. Now, this little bit goes on there. It's like there's a little nub next to that skull. Not cleaned that up properly, have I? I can just see it there. It's just not well cleaned. Naughty of me. I should clean things up better before I try and attach them. Okay. Then we've got this part. Now, what's going to happen with this is it's going to connect here onto this. You may personally prefer to not secure that in at this point because you may decide it's easier to paint something like that with it kind of separate. I have to admit, I personally would almost prefer to keep that separate for painting. as a rule I would, but I am actually gonna attach it now, because this is a how to build video, not a how to leave things in 100 different parts video. Now I want to make sure that this is going to be nice and flat against the base. There we go. Yeah, just basically making sure that it's balanced when it's put on. Okay, now it's time for the other side. So I'm following my purples here. So 17. Another one of these number 16s. Then we've got 19 over here, and then we've got the other connector, number 18. Again, just need to get these tidied up. And there's a bit of a mold line on it, which I don't like. Let's try and gently scrape that off. Right. So it should be very simple again. Just get this onto here. Should find its natural level. Put that one on. And then we just kind of put this on the other side. Basically, it's going to go on this side here. Basically, got to put that one in to secure it. Ooh, come on, secure yourself. It's the thing, I've not glued the wheels on deliberately because I don't want to glue them in yet. I've got plans within plans. Unfortunately, it's going to be a pain, this part, isn't it? Go on, connect. You even got a bit of like wiggle room with this as well about its kind of how far out you want to put it, I think. Just hoping that's secured itself now. Right. So there are a couple of little things to consider at this point. So before we kind of finish up, so you may want to glue this to the base, which is perfectly fine. You know, if you want to get that attached now, you can do. You can glue it down, isn't an issue. You can glue that on it as well. However, I actually want to do something a bit more special before I kind of attach this to the base. Just to make you aware as well, this part here, 26, you can attach that now to, I think it's just about here. However, there is another one of these And the difference between it is it doesn't have that nub there, the actual turning handle. Crank would be the right word for that. The reason behind that is you can have the crew set up so that you can have a crew member either holding the wheel, in which case there's a different one of these to use and put there. So if you're not going to use the crew member on here, you can attach that now. But I want to add the crew member to it because I think it looks cool with the crew member actually turning the winch. Right, what am I going to do then? Why am I not gluing this to the base? Well, let me show you. It's because of this here. Now, hopefully you can see what that is. Let's do a zoom in here. So that is actually for my Cerastus, my knight. So my knight kind of is stepping up on that trench there. I'm going to create this trench system on this miniature. I need to add some snow to this as well. I want to add a bit of like melting snow because my Death Corps are on melting snow. But basically I'm going to try and create that on this before I actually basically say yes, I'm happy, and I'm going to glue it down to the piece. So that's going to be a project in and of itself. I've never actually really filmed myself making scenery before, so that should be a interesting process to say the least. So you can glue it now, but that is the Carriage built. I will do in separate videos how to build the actual weapons, and if it is not tons and tons of painful work, I'll even look at magnetising it. Other than that, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.